Now, before we move on from our, uh, you know, sources here and talk about other things in research, I want you to realize that a lot of us have a tendency to go to Google and pull up information, which is nothing wrong with it. But just be careful with websites. I have here something that you may want to recommend. Societies or professional organizations, government organizations, educational organizations, and be careful with your nonprofit organizations. Those can be tricky. Those can be ones where I can come up with a nonprofit myself, but not really have an authority on any of this stuff. But typically, your societies and professional organizations will have be more accurate information that you need. I just put one up here, the Music Library Association. That's for the specific field of study. And just a recommendation for you guys, it's a great place to go and look for and find maybe things such as scholarships, or even if you're in the field, sometimes they have grant opportunities. So, you may want to take a look at some of those. And again, before we leave this, I'm going to show you more about how we can get all this information a little bit easier. Okay, so I would like for us, before we move on to other issues with research, is to look at the library's webpage and look at research guides. Now, if we're back here at the WKU Library's website, you can see where we have the library catalog, research guides, database, easy journal, e-journals, A to Z, special collections, advanced research. And of course, if you scroll down, there's information here about our resources. So I want us to kind of look at the research guides, because research guides are basically constructed by subject specialist librarians. So these librarians are specialized in a specific field, and so they've already pulled out material for us to help us start our research. And if we're looking at college retention and stuff, I want to go down to education. That's the subject. And as you can see, this librarian has several different types of research guides. So for us, we're looking more at the adult education, because that's going to be our college higher uh, education. That's our students. And if we look here, here's our education librarian, Roxanne Spencer. So if we have any questions, we can always contact her. We also have, she's already got out here the articles and databases listed for us. So we can scroll through here. We can see where it says specific journals. Already have some of the catalogs together, some electronic resources. Here we go with our academic search complete. That's one of our most popular one. ProQuest, and she also has through here JSTOR at the bottom. That's another one of our popular journals. Even Google Scholars on here. But she also has this. If you want to browse the bookshelves, these are the call numbers. They're listed by subject topic. So if you need to know the history of adult education, you're going to look at LC 5251. Go through there. She's even pulled out some selected titles for us. Because if we're trying to get students to, graduate, maybe these are some of the materials that would have information in it. Then she also has the adult education web resources. This goes back to what we were just talking about, the societies. These are these ones that will be able to provide information. These are people in the field. These are the actual ones doing most of the update research. She even has listed by what's recommended by faculty. So these are just some ways to look at optional ways. Like if we go to the research guide specific guide, then these librarians are pretty much going to have everything you need pulled out for you. But if you I also wanted to show too, they also have library how-to guides. These are over here on the right. So getting started at the library, if you need help there, using the OneSearch library catalog, using citation guides and manuals, that'd be like for APA, basic materials. So I mean, these are excellent ways to help you out in case you get struggling to try and navigate the databases, or struggling to do your APA citation or whatever citation you're using. There's some helpful guides right here. And of course, you're always more than welcome to contact me or anyone at the reference desk. which we even have here. It says reference services. So even if you're not at the Bowling Green campus, you can still contact um, one of these reference librarians, and the phone number is going to be 270-745-6125. Or you can actually send a chat, and then sometimes the frequently asked questions could even help you out before you even have to go through all that. So there's plenty of resources available for those that are at our regional campuses. And the last thing I want to talk about before we move on is the distance education library services. That's really going to pertain to a lot of our off-campus students and our regional campus students. So if I click on distance service and education library services, this is what we're going to go to. The document services interlibrary loans is designed to provide resources for those who are not on our campus, or if there's materials that's not in our catalog or in our database. So here's the information for our interlibrary loans. This is what the ILL means, interlibrary loan. We we suggest that you try everything you can. Try looking through our catalog first. Try and look on our databases before you ask or request this information. This is mainly just to kind of save on cost and to save on time. So it says select your classification and service for details. Document delivery for students, which is you guys. This is if there's a book on our campus, and let's say it's in Bowling Green, or let's say it's in Glasgow or Owensboro, but you're in Elizabethtown. Well, you can go through here, the document delivery service, and request it. If we don't have it in our catalog, we don't have it in our database, then you can use the interlibrary loan for students. So if you click that, basically it tells you some of the steps, some things that you need to do, and information about it. And then what you would do is click whether it's a book or article or other. And when you do that, it's basically going to ask for your net ID and password. And then you can just fill in the information and then click submit. So that's the way you guys in regional campuses, can get materials sent to you in any way. Also, the interlibrary loan. If there's an article that we don't have that's on the database that you really need, you can request it. We have what's called a Get It Now program, and you can pretty much get that article emailed to you within a day or two. So, but again, these are things that you need to do when you kind of plan ahead. Don't wait till the last minute because these do take some time to get back to you. So just keep that in mind. Okay, now that you have some of your information together and you're doing your research and you're starting to put your paper together, we have to be considerate of, plagiarism, and WKU has a definition at their Counseling and Student Affairs webpage about plagiarism. And if you're unsure, there is the Indiana University's writing guides that has tips as well as plagiarism, as we see here on the right. There's things that will talk to you about how to write a thesis statement paragraphs and plagiarism and things like that. It's very helpful. So please, if you have any kind of concerns, be sure to check these websites out. And tips to avoid plagiarism. Think about this. Give credit whenever you use another person's ideal, opinion, or theory. Any facts, statistics, graphs, drawings, any pieces of information that are not common knowledge. Quotation of another person's actual spoken or written words. And paraphrase of another person's spoken or written word. So these are just some kind of suggestions, some ideas about be careful when you write your paper that you're not using someone else's ideals and thoughts and theories and opinions. And if you ever have any questions or doubt, please contact your instructor or professor. Now, another site that we kind of recommend when you start putting your paper together and you start citing, basically what we mean by citing is if you use a quote, use someone else's thoughts, ideals, or opinions, graphs, charts, all that, You have to cite where it comes from. So, in other words, you go and give that citation to that person, those authors. We always like to recommend that students use our Purdue OWL for quick reference. So, if you're unsure about the Purdue OWL, which is Online Writing Lab, you can pretty much Google Purdue OWL and it's going to come up and it will take you to the site. So have pulled up here, like if you're doing APA, if you look to the left, it says APA formatting style guides. So this is going to give me all the information on how to cite a in-text citation quote from a book, article, chapter, internet source. So this is going to be very helpful. And if you don't feel comfortable with this, you also have the APA manual if that's kind of the one you're using, or MLA or whatever citation style that you're using. We can always get those manuals. And I've listed here a couple of examples of APA citation. So when we say in-text citation, that means we're taking someone's thoughts or ideas and we're giving them credit in our actual paper. So you can see here the first one shows the parentheses that I'm giving credit to these two articles. The one is 2002, the other is 2004. Then you see the next sentence I use, or the last sentence, you'll see where I've used that 2002 article again, but instead of putting everybody's name, we use et al. So this is kind of an example of what it would look like in Cite. Now your reference list is on the right, and that's the way it would look. These are the typical formats for article citations. And dissertation there, the last one is. So this concludes our tutorial, and if you ever need any more information, please contact the WKU libraries at wku.edu/library. You can always check the reference desk, or you can contact me at anthony.paganelli@wku.edu. Thank you.